2017, I actually went to college to get my master's degree in chaplaincy, in Islamic chaplaincy. So I'm kind of like the enigma. I'm a retired police officer. I've been in the Middle East. I worked in Iraq for 7 years and Afghanistan for 3. Don't really fit the really mold for the Muslim. I do have tattoos. I asked the imam about that, and he says, don't cover them. He says, you know, it is you are who you are. I went to Hajj, didn't have a problem whatsoever. I was walking around the Kaaba one time, and I felt somebody rubbing me. And it was a young gentleman. He had licked his fingers and he was rubbing me. He thought that my tattoos were going to rub off. So, other than that, that's the only issue that I had. Well, I have a comparison for Islam. It's like when the Prophet, peace be upon him, got the first revelation, he was handed a ball of yarn. Has anybody ever worked? I know the sisters have worked with yarn. You roll it up neatly. There's nothing on it. The threads are pure and everything. That's like Islam. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was handed this ball of yarn, which is pure, clean, and everything. He would roll it out, talk to the people of the different nations, and he would carefully roll it back up, and he would put it back in that box, and it would fit so nice and so pure. Well, after the Prophet passed, peace be upon him, his companions and generations after that would take that ball of yarn out, and they would take it to a new nation or a new culture, and they would roll it out, and they'd talk about Islam. But every time they would roll that ball of yarn up, it would gather debris from the surrounding area. It would get new smells. It would get exposed to the cultures, new colors and everything. So soon when they're rolling up the ball of Islam, which is Islam, it would not fit into that box anymore. Today's Islam does not fit into that box because there's so many cultural influences in that. You know, what is beautiful? Just stop there and just think about that word beautiful. In all my years on this earth, that word itself has never changed. When I talk about changing of words, when I was growing up in rural Pennsylvania, my grandparents were German immigrants. And we'd wake up and they'd say, how are you feeling today? Or I'd ask them how they're feeling. They'd say, I'm feeling gay. That is not the way that gay is perceived today. There's nothing wrong with that. But back then it meant that I felt good. I was happy. Everything was rejoiceful. Alhamdulillah. So the word beautiful hasn't changed. And another word, I was talking to my daughter today, she's 19, so they have a totally different language than we do. When I was growing up, ratchet meant something on a wrench. You work on a car, a ratchet wrench. Today a ratchet means something from the ghetto, worse than the ghetto, you know, worse than the lower than the low. I don't understand all this. Something about being lit. Something was lit back in my day, it meant something was on fire. Today it's having fun. Or you were drunk or something. I was thinking, that party was lit. Well, I was like, well, I don't know what that means. Did it catch fire? It was like, no, it was a lot of fun. So words change over the years. But the one word that the prophet used that day is beautiful. It has not changed. So his words are, doing what is beautiful means that you should worship Allah as if you see him. For even if you do not, he sees you. Let me repeat that. Doing what is beautiful means that you worship Allah as if you see him. For even if you do not, he sees you. That means your heart has to be in each and every prayer. It doesn't mean that you forget about Allah when you walk away from the masjid today. If you walk out into the parking lot and the first thing you do is you praise Allah, that's dhikr. Remember dhikr, constant praise of God. That's what you should always do. This guidance is in the hellfire. Alhamdulillah. 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 I'd like to talk to you today about what is Islam and what it means to me. Let me start with the hadith of Omar bin Khattab, the story of the prophet and the traveler. The story is told by Omar. And he starts off by saying, one day we were sitting with the prophet, peace be upon him, and this man approached in white with long black hair. He walked up to the prophet, peace be upon him, and knelt down beside him, knelt down in front of him, with his knees touching the prophet, and put his hands upon his thighs. Can one imagine that, walking up to the prophet, peace be upon him, in his own environment, and just walking up to him, the prophet, peace be upon him, and kneeling before him? His companions looked around, and they didn't know who this guy was. He's all in white. There's no signs of travel on him whatsoever. I don't know how many of y'all have worn white in the Middle East. I have. I can't walk outside without getting dirty. I mean, today, I dressed in a shirt with color on it. Me and my wife and my daughter, we stop off for lunch before we come to the masjid. And I even get ketchup on my shirt. I mean, so it's like I can't even wear white without something standing out. So just that is amazing, to walk into a place wearing all white. Well, sitting down in front of the prophet, the man spoke and says, Muhammad, tell me about Islam. Without hesitating, the prophet, peace be upon him, looked at it and says, Islam means you should bear witness there is no God but Allah. And I, Muhammad, is his messenger. You should perform your ritual prayers, pay zakat,